Today's tale is about the Bunny Man, and it takes place in Fairfield County, Virginia, on the Colchester Overpass, which is a bridge that is very small. It looks single lane. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a small circular type, tunnel, and over it is railroad tracks. So let's get into this story. I'm going to tell you the story, and then we'll go over why it's not necessarily fact. So in 1904, two insane asylum inmates escaped. Now, it is said that they were being transported from the asylum that they were at with other patients because of mistreatment. And as they are, being transported, it is like a cold, snowy day. And the van or bus or whatever wrecked, and two of the inmates escaped. The inmates that escaped names are Douglas J. Griffin and Margaret Walster. These two inmates took off, and it's cold and they're hungry, so they ate bunny rabbits. And they left, they were eating these bunny rabbits raw, probably because they didn't know how to start a fire or have the, stuff to start a fire. So they're eating these bunny rabbits raw, and they are leaving the carcasses and remains of them behind. So the police are tracking them because of their footsteps and tracks in the snow, but also because of the bunnies that they're leaving behind. And at one point, Douglas decides to murder Marcus. It is said that he murdered him, hung him over the bridge, over this overpass, and left a note on him that said, "You'll never catch the Bunny Man." The police finally did catch up with him, and as they were chasing him, he jumped to get away in front of a train, and instead of making it over the railroad tracks, the train hit him. And rest in peace, my dude. So that is one version of this story. The other version is that the cops caught up with him and beat him up and murdered him. That story, from what I've researched, can't be true at all, because there are no insane asylums during that time in that area. Also, there was no inmates or any, those names are just, nobody knows where these people are, who they were. There's no records of these people. No, it is 1906, so 1904, so they, record keeping isn't exactly great, but there's a lot of that can't be true because this insane asylum did not exist. Also, the Colchester Overpass didn't exist until 1906, so there's another flaw in that story. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more of other stories, and some have a little bit of backing, but not really. But we're going to get into it. So there's a story. This one doesn't have any backing, but is that there's this bunny man who was seen murdering 2 children underneath the Colchester overpass, and he hung them over the overpass and said, "This is what happens when you trespass," and signed the bunny man. Again, there's not any records that indicate that this is correct or that, 2 children were hung or murdered there. I don't know. I mean, like, it could be, like, records may not be 100% correct, but there's been research done on this, and there hasn't been any factual, like, names or anything of 2 children who were hung there like that. So now we're going to get into 2 stories, one of which actually does have an open police report on. Now, the first one was there was this Air Force Academy cadet named Robert Bennett and his fiance. They were there to see some family or something like that, and they pulled over on the side of the road and were just hanging out. Why? I don't know, but they were. And as they were hanging out in the vehicle, they saw a white bunny suit worn by a man, or what appeared to be a man, and he jumped out of the bushes and he came out and was like, "You're on private property and I have your tag number." Then he threw a hatchet through the front door of the window. Yeah, and he broke it, like, and left the hatchet. He took off running. So, like, the police supposedly have this hatchet. Some people say that this isn't, like, factual. Others say it is 100% factual, and that the cops do have this hatchet that this guy, this bunny man, threw over the door. Now, this, Air Force dude went and told the cops and reported everything and blah, blah, blah. So, and this happened in 1970, by the way, in the 1970s at some point. I believe it was in October, because there's a story about October. So we'll get into that too. But, so there was 2 weeks later, another incident. Now, this actually has an open police report. So they're building new houses around that area. They're developing the area a little bit more, and there are houses going up. So there is a security guard that works for the construction company, that drives around to make sure materials and stuff don't get taken, and that, the houses that they're building are safe. Right? Just agree. Yes. So the security guard named Paul Phyllis came across this guy dressed as a bunny, who he describes as 5'8" in his early 20s and is about 160 pounds, which I thought was an interesting description considering the guy was wearing a bunny suit. Like, I don't know how descriptive can you really get. I don't know how much could you actually see. But he came across the guy, and he's on the front porch, and he has an axe this time. And he is destroying the awning thing, or like a roof support. So I'm assuming some kind of like wooden pole that's like sort of supporting the front porch roof. I don't know. But he's destroying it. He's hitting it and destroying it. And then the bunny man threatened to bust him in the head if he didn't go. And so the security guard went to his vehicle to get his handgun. And the bunny man went off into the woods. So, yes, and the security dude reported it. And, you know, he reported this incident to the cops, like, hey, there's this bunny man dude that looks like this that was doing this. And supposedly there is an open report. I know, my makeup's done. I'm sorry. I'm working on trying to like level it all out. But anyways, I'm gonna say that there are several accounts of people saying that they've seen this bunny man over, you know, this time span from 1906 to now. From 1904 to now. Most of the accounts are not like confirmed. There's a lot of like, for me, I find it really weird that there's not any like major connections to these stories. Now, it's also said that there could be copycats and whatnot that are doing this, or, you know, that people are seeing. Also, this is sensitive, very sensitive, but some people suspect that it wasn't a bunny suit, but it was actually a KKK attire, and that, you know, one of the nasty neighbors was not happy that there was development happening and people were trespassing, quote unquote, and wanted them to go. I don't know, but that's another side story of information that I did find. These stories, I will tell you, like, take them with a grain of salt, because I found so much contradicting, you know, stories to it. So I'm doing my best. Now, there were 3 films based on this legend or folklore or whatever you want to call it. There's The Bunny Man that was made in 2011. Then there was The Bunny Man, The Resurrection, that was created in 2014. Then there was The Bunny Man number 3 that is called Vengeance, and it was created in 2017. This legend or whatever has gained quite a bit of traction, and apparently a lot of people in October will go to the overpass and try and see it. They'll drive from all over, and it got so busy that they actually had to create like roadblocks and things and have police like handle all of the traffic, because it goes through, I think, DC, you know, and they had to turn these people away. There are paranormal investigators that go to this spot. And it's said that on October 31st, if you go, you can stand over the overpass, spin around 4 times, and call out the bunny man, and that he'll appear. Kind of sounds familiar, kind of like, you know, Bloody Mary in a way. Yeah, so there's no confirmed link to any of this. Of course, that's a legend. That's how these things work. But I was kind of disappointed that I didn't find any, like, I don't know, suspects of who this mysterious bunny man could be, or any proof of any kind of like foul play or anything like that. Besides, I would say the security guard's account was fact, because, I mean, not necessarily fact, but he did report it to the police, and there was an open and is an open investigation on the property that was destroyed. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that it's funny that there are these films created about this, and I want to see them. I actually tried looking them up, but I could only find them like one available on Tubi, and I didn't have an account. Free ones, anyways. There, I think Amazon had it, but you had to pay. Maybe it wasn't Amazon, it was YouTube. Somewhere had a couple of these films, but it cost money. But I want to watch them. I think it would be fun. And in the films, it looks like the bunny doesn't have a hatchet or an axe, that it actually has a chainsaw. Which, dude, a bunny guy running around with the chainsaw, I'd probably get a couple of laughs. I know I'm morbid. I know I'm morbid. But anyways, that is the tale of the bunny man, and I, decided to tell it because, Easter's coming up and I thought it was fitting. And I had never heard of the bunny man. I was literally looking up urban legends and it came up and I was like, oh, well, let's read about you, Mr. Bunny Man. So if you're looking for a thrill, you can always go to the Colchester overpass and turn around in some circles. Oh, and it has to be at midnight. Did I say that? At midnight, and do circles and say the bunny man 4 times. Ooh. Anyways, I'm just gonna go. That is the story. I'll get better at trying to get my makeup done while I'm telling the story. This was a fairly short one, so there is that. It takes a certain skill, you guys. It takes a certain skill, let me tell you. But thank you for being here, and thank you all for the suggestions that you gave me. I will be doing some of those, of course, but I really wanted to do the bunny man because of the time of the month. Because of the time of the year that it is. So yeah, I'm just gonna go now. Bye.